5 years ago, me and my family were in $205,000 worth of debt. My name is Ruben. This is my story on how I went from being in that much debt to being financially free. In 2019, my wife graduated from grad school. Around Thanksgiving of 2019, we moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin so she could start her career. During that time, I was taking odd-end jobs and doing Uber and Lyft on the side. After about 4 or 5 months of us paying off over the minimum on our debts, and I mean paying a couple $100 over, we looked at our debts and it was like we're barely making a dent into them. And then the pandemic happened. My wife worked in the medical field, so she was around patients that were sick all the time. A lot of areas started closing down. Work started drying up for me, except for Uber and Lyft and doing DoorDash. Over that time, we looked at the scenario and said, hey, this is a time for us just to work. We have no family around us where we live. We don't have kids or anything. All we had was a cat. And then we just started grinding away. And during that grind, I realized that no matter what, lifestyle inflation was going to creep in. We were going to end up still living paycheck to paycheck. And in between passengers, in between delivering food, I started listening to as many podcasts, educating myself in every aspect of financial and finances, especially personal finances. And during that time, I started realizing that a lot of the finance stuff that's out there, these finance gurus and everything else, a lot of it is their way, their system. But each and every single one of us are different. I would take a little bit of information from one podcast, take information from one author from a book, and I started realizing different pieces of the puzzles worked for me. And each person had the same core concept, but they changed it to where they shared their experience with it and how it worked for them. And a lot of them really kind of preached of like, this is how it needs to be done. So as I was driving 16 hours a day in Milwaukee snowstorms, literally just grinding and grinding away, I kept learning everything from credit card debt to credit card scores to investing, how to invest into mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, even as deep as listening to conference calls, reading the news, understanding what inflation reports, job reports, and all the news that was going around that was making a big difference in our economy. And at the time, me personally, with my credit, I was saying probably about 580 with credit score. My wife had 770s to probably 800. And so I realized, like, in order for me to be where I want to be, I had to clean up my credit score. And so I learned everything about that, and I moved forward. Over time, it became a way for me to educate and take control of our finances to where, years prior, it was us living paycheck to paycheck, spending money. And during the pandemic, we just hounded away. We start pushing every single dollar towards our debt. We cut back on expenses, start looking at things a lot different. We realized we were buying a lot of things that were wants instead of needs. We start taking a mentality of, do we need this or is it a want? And if it ranked down more of a want, it wasn't. We changed the mentality of not buying it right then and there to wait. And over time, we took the $170,000 student loan and the $35,000 worth of credit card debt. We started chipping away at that. We started building up an emergency fund. We started to change our mentality towards the money. We kept grinding. When we moved back to California, I lived 2 hours away from Los Angeles, so I would drive my car to Los Angeles because I knew that's where the money would be made. And literally, I slept in my car for 3 or 4 days to get as much money as I can go home and spend 2 days at home and go back and repeat over and over again. And my wife picked up every shift she can so we could start shoveling as much money as we can to our debts. We realized different ways work for certain people, and different debts call for different styles. Like, we had some debt on credit card that was high interest rates that was costing us more than trying to take out some of the lower balance cards that had low interest rates. So we had to adjust, and during those adjustments we realized what was important, what debt would we value to be gone sooner than later, and what debts were keeping us up at night. And as we looked at our map and we mapped it all out and we became fully aware of our debts, we start having a game plan that really knocked them out for us. Over the years, as I learned all this, I started teaching other people it and started helping friends, family members, people I run into, even people when I was driving Uber. I would give them financial, education and point them in the right direction. And I've had people, text me or email me later and tell me, thank you for helping them. And now when I really look at everything, I created First Principle Finance because there's so much out there going on, and there's so much education. It's overwhelming. And a lot of the education out there is just pure fluff. There were so many books I read that 80% of it was fluff. And it was just like, wow, why couldn't you just get to the core basic simples? I did over time and throughout my journey of all this education, find great books that really helped me, great concepts that helped and really drive it home. And so in all that, I created First Principle Finance, because when you really look at finance and you look at what first principles means, it's taking it back to the core simple. We all need basic needs, which is food, shelter, protection, such as clothes to protect us from the weather. So when you look at those basic needs, our ancestors weren't going to a McDonald's, weren't going to Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Chipotle, getting extra guac and all that 100 years ago. They still survived. But yet, when we run into headaches, we run into other things, we point to everyone else that it's their issue, it's their problem. Oh, inflation's happening. My Chipotle burrito cost $25 because I bought guacamole, I bought chips, I did this, I did that, and it's everyone else's problem. I need to eat. I need to do this. In reality, you just need basic food to survive. And I get that we all want to continue living a certain lifestyle, but in reality, we gotta strip it down to the basics. We gotta look at our needs and our wants, because trying to live lifestyle inflation, trying to live this overly inflated lifestyle that has came up with our society, with social media and all that, it's making us chase things that are not relevant to us anymore. So I hope you guys love the videos I come out with and will enjoy the education. Like I said, I'm not here to try to sell you a bunch of hype and make you go down bunny rabbit holes. I want you to understand the core principles and the basics of finances, of personal finances, so you could thrive. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and let's grow together and become more financially free. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening, and may you be blessed.